Polygon is jumping on the bandwagon in a new partnership with tech startup Nothing. The partnership will see the Android-based Nothing phone offer NFTs that offer perks to the community, like early access to products and events. I'm sure there are some other features for this phone that they just have not advertised yet, so we're just going to talk about NFTs. But I think a few weeks ago, we saw Solana announced that they are launching a Web3 phone so people can access dApps and vaults for their secret phrases. But Adam, we've spoken about blockchain phones making a revival on the show before, and we have not yet heard your opinion. So I'm going to kick it up to you first. Do you think that these can finally become a thing?
I mean, I think that they'll be a thing insofar as that people will buy them. There will be discussion about them. But really, when I see a story like this, I kind of draw back the lens and view it in the bigger battle that I think is happening here. And that bigger battle really is a battle between all of these would-be, Ethereum incumbents, basically, or Ethereum challengers. There's a huge market to be made in making the pitch that your ecosystem is the most full-featured, the most supportive, has the most money in it, the most buyers in it. And right now, when I look at that contest, I see Polygon on one side, it's doing a pretty good job, and I see Solana on the other side. And then I see a lot of other projects that are probably somewhere just underneath those. But I think that kind of is the story here. Really what we're seeing is this conflict ramping up between Solana, FTX-backed Solana on the one side, and Polygon, which has, I believe, backing from A16Z, stuff like that. It might also be FTX-backed. They'd like to bet on all the horses. But that's sort of the story that I see here. It's a lot less about the phone, and it's a lot more about the headline that they can then bring to you as a way to attract talent, money, and resources into their ecosystem. But Wendy, I'm curious, what's your read on this one?
So as far as this goes, I remember back in 2018, 2017, there were all these different crypto phones that came out, and I can't even remember one project that had one because there were so many. One thing I will say is we covered this on my show yesterday, and I'm leaning more towards the Polygon phone over the Solana phone. And the only reason why is because and this is not financial advice, guys. I'm not telling you to buy Polygon, Solana, whatever it is.
Too
and
late.
I do hold both.
I already bought it.
Damn.
So, and you bought it on Voyager too, right? Well, right? Or Celsius. But anyways,
I locked it up as collateral.
It seems it seems like the Polygon phone is more affordable, and it's actually I think it's on an HTC phone. I don't think either phone will be available in the US. I don't know if that's correct or not, but it feels like the Polygon phone, you can still utilize Solana apps on that, like Phantom Wallet or whatever it is, which I don't recommend that any way, shape, or form. People are going to do what they're going to do. And the Solana phone is just for Solana. So that's kind of my take on that. I think both are really strong projects. I think both will hopefully sustain over this very, very, very bearish time. But I think that these actually might have a chance as opposed to what we saw back in 2018. And Will or Jen, who wants this?
Jen?
Go first. I'll wrap it up.
Okay, I'll take it. The interesting thing to me, and I'm going to take this a totally different direction than talking about the phones, is that the winners can keep winning, or at least they can continue to experiment and try to stay on top. So Solana, huge network, came out of nowhere over the last few years and has done incredibly well. They're probably the second next to Ethereum in terms of smart contract chains. Some might dispute that, but I think that's pretty fair to say. Polygon as another dApp on Ethereum, as a layer 2 on Ethereum, and also as its own independent chain of sorts, also has been a huge winner. A lot of people use Polygon. Like, I think at one point it had like more transactions than Ethereum was getting. Like, it's a clear winner out of this bull market in a lot of ways. And so the winners of those protocols get to keep innovating, get to keep building and go onwards. There's going to be a lot of losers out of this crash. Most chains will not make it. Most devs will move on to another project. Most concepts will be dropped. But the winners, they get to take all that cash and move it on to another project. And maybe those projects fail, maybe they succeed, but at least they have another chance at creating and innovating something else. So it's interesting to see how you can leverage one bet into multiple bets, even if it's in a completely different sphere of concepts, like from an L1 to building your own smartphone. Jen, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about these phones in the current state that we're in. I've said this before. I mean, when it comes to mainstream adoption, this means people are going to have to be carrying around 2 phones. And are these really Web3 phones where I'm going to make calls and access all of the Web2 apps that have integrated completely into my life along with my Web3 apps? Or am I going to be now carrying around multiple devices for multiple chains? Because we all know like who is just using products on one chain. I just feel like there are so many things to work out if these devices are to actually work. That said, I do think that we need mobile devices for the dApps and products that are being built in Web3. I just think we have a long way to go. But I don't know. Maybe I'll start carrying around 2 phones. Maybe I'll do that for the hash, and I can give you guys a weekly update.
You got to be like
NFT
Wendy.
phone.
I have a million phones.
I got a million phones, 1 for each chain.
It's just this is just what I carry around with me. I have more around the office.
Wendy's
in
like a
other
rapper.
places.